Hi, I'm Shelley Johnson, and I'm here with my tea. Would you join me? Let's hear some words and give them space to do a work in us. Welcome to week 2 of our summer series called Embrace Worship, where we are coming toward God every week with a posture of wanting to understand and more fully experience worship. So we're asking the question, what is worship? And there is a component, maybe a facet of worship that I have been really curious about for the last few years. And maybe it's because I've had some voices in my sphere talking about altars. And there is a really biblical foundation for the idea of altars and worship. I mean, if you think about the patriarchs of the Old Testament, when they had an encounter with God, they built an altar. Not only just to symbolize that moment that they had with God and to be a constant reminder, but also to keep on the forefront that that's not just a one-time thing. Like, we're meant to come to an altar and encounter God regularly. It's why he sent Jesus to die and to come to life again, so that that veil is torn and we have this ability to come into his presence. So even though the actual literal building of an altar in the Old Testament is maybe not a practice that we have today, the idea of an altar is still very relevant and very true. And so in my own life, I've been trying to think about, when have I encountered God? And sometimes those encounters are just a stirring of the heart, or it's a word that God speaks over you, or a picture that he gives to you. Maybe it's a change of attitude or even a conviction. An encounter with God is holy, and it's meant to be a passageway of intimacy, of being closer to God, being more real of ourselves before him. And he looks forward just as much as coming to us with more of a fullness for our experience of him. And I think about altars in a church. I know that one of the churches that I loved being part of their worship service every week was called a response time toward the end, where after we had kind of gone through the liturgy and the singing and the listening and to the teaching, the praying, is then we were given a space and a time to respond to God, whether it was through heartfelt repentance or, gushing gratitude, maybe because he gave us a revelation. I love that we could be intentional to come to the front of the church, kneel at the altar, and have an encounter with God as part of that whole worship, congregational worship experience. And so I wonder how that translates in our lives. I feel like I'm just hitting the tip of the iceberg when it comes to altars. And I'm hopeful that the Lord will continue to reveal to us how altars might work in our lives today. And so I hope that you're asking the God along this journey with me, what is worship? And so this week, let's be intentional to pay attention to encounters with God, because I suspect that altars not only commemorate and memorialize the encounters we've had with God, but they're also invitations for us to posture ourselves before God. Think about an altar and how your body moves toward it and kneels at it, so that we are postured before God very humbly with reverence and awe. And so in that sense, an altar is an invitation to an encounter with God. I would love to hear what encounters you've had, and let me know how I can be praying for you.